There is a man sitting in your congregation right now who has memorized every geopolitical sign in Matthew 24. He tracks news from the Middle East. He can walk through the Gog and Magog coalition from Ezekiel 38 in 15 minutes without pausing. He has watched more prophecy updates this month than most believers have read chapters of Scripture in a year. And Jesus, in Matthew 25, told a parable directly about him. Maybe you recognize that man. Maybe, if you're being honest, you've been that man. Because here is the detail that changes everything about how we read Matthew 24 and 25 together. Jesus doesn't tell the parable of the 10 virgins before the signs. He tells it directly after. He finishes the prophecy. He closes out every sign. And then immediately, without a break, without a chapter gap in the original manuscript, he tells this story. 10 virgins, all of them waiting for the same bridegroom, all of them carrying lamps, all of them knowing he was coming, all of them part of the waiting company, all of them showing up. When the cry finally came at midnight, 5 went in, and 5 heard 3 words that should stop every prophecy-following believer cold. I do not know you. Notice what Jesus did not say. He did not say you had the wrong eschatology. He didn't say your timeline was off. He didn't say you missed the signs or sat in the wrong church or followed the wrong teacher. He said, I do not know you. The line that divided those 10 virgins was not doctrine. It was not prophetic awareness. It was not how much content they had consumed about the bridegroom's coming. It was oil, what they were carrying on the inside. What was burning or failing to burn in the reservoir that no one else could see? That is the question this video is here to ask. Not, are you watching? Every serious believer today is watching. The question is older, quieter, and far more dangerous to ignore. What are you carrying? The first sign is this. You can explain end times prophecy to others, but your personal prayer life is almost non-existent. Think about the imagery for a moment. The lamp in Matthew 25 is not the problem. The lamp exists, it's real, it's visible. It looks right from the outside. The wick is trimmed. Everything appears to be in order. The only thing missing is the oil, the internal reservoir that nobody sees, that doesn't show up in a comment section, that can't be displayed in a thumbnail or a prophetic update. There is a version of Christianity that looks spiritually engaged from the outside, the right channels subscribed, the right events tracked, the right language about signs and seasons, while the prayer life behind closed doors has quietly gone dry. And the terrifying thing about a dry reservoir is that the lamp still looks the same. You cannot tell from the outside, not until midnight. The man who knows every sign of the second coming but spends almost no time in private prayer has built something that resembles spiritual readiness without actually being it. He has polished the lamp. He has trimmed the wick. He has just never filled the flask. The second sign is harder to admit. You feel spiritually informed after consuming prophecy content, as if watching videos about the bridegroom is the same as preparing to meet him. There is something that happens when we engage with content we deeply care about. It produces a sensation of participation, a feeling of engagement, a sense that something spiritual is occurring. And in prophetic Christian circles, that sensation can mimic, very convincingly, actual spiritual depth. But here is what the ancient Hebrew wedding custom reveals about this parable that most Bible teachers pass over quickly. The bridegroom's delay was not an accident. It was the design. Every ancient Jewish listener hearing this story would have understood that the delay was built into the wedding structure itself. The bridegroom delayed to reveal exactly what the waiting had produced in those who claimed to be ready. Information about the bridegroom is not oil. Familiarity with the signs of his coming is not oil. Knowing the schedule is not the same as having a relationship with the one you are scheduled to meet. The foolish virgins knew who was coming. They showed up. Their failure was not theological. It was interior. Their lamps carried the appearance of readiness without the substance of it. The third sign follows directly from the second. Your sense of urgency about end-time signs has never produced a measurable change in your private spiritual disciplines. You feel agitated about what is happening in the world. You carry the weight of the hour. You follow the geopolitical developments. You sense the acceleration. You believe sincerely that something is coming. And yet none of that urgency, none of that prophetic awareness has changed what happens behind the closed door of your secret life with God. This is what makes the parable so precise. The foolish virgins were not lazy in a general sense. They came. They showed up. They waited. Their failure was specific. They were present everywhere except the one place where oil is actually stored. The urgency they felt about the bridegroom's arrival never translated into the quiet work of keeping their flasks full. Agitation about external signs that never produces internal transformation is not spiritual readiness. It is anxiety with theological vocabulary. The fourth sign carries the sharpest edge in Matthew 25. You have become an expert in identifying what others are doing wrong spiritually. The apostate church, the lukewarm Christian, the deceived believer, but you have not applied that same discernment to your own reservoir. This is important. Jesus did not address this parable to the people who never came. He addressed it to the virgins who showed up. The words, "Lord, Lord, open to us," in verse 11 were spoken by people who expected to enter, who believed they were on the right side of the door, who were, by every visible measure, part of the right group. The danger of spending your spiritual energy identifying everyone else's empty lamp is that it can generate a powerful and false sense of your own fullness. It is easy to feel prepared when you are measuring yourself against those who are clearly not watching. But the parable never compares the 10 virgins to those who never came at all. It compares them to each other. 5 of them had more awareness of the event than they had oil for the moment. The fifth sign is the quietest, and in many ways the most important. You know the signs, but you do not know the silence. This is the distinction that actually separated the wise virgins from the foolish, and it is not the one most prophecy teachers emphasize. It was not louder proclamations. It was not superior knowledge of the timeline. It was not having seen the right videos or studied the right chapters. It was something that happened in private over time, invisibly. A reservoir that held through the delay. The ancient bridegroom did not delay to punish those waiting. He delayed to reveal what they had built during the waiting. The oil in the flask is not accumulated in moments of excitement. It is not built during breaking news or during the final countdown. It is built in the unremarkable hours, the prayer sessions that feel empty, the ones with no audience, the ones that seem disconnected from the urgency you feel in your chest when you read the headlines. The spiritually prepared believer is not distinguished by what they know about the signs of the second coming. They are distinguished by what they are carrying when those signs finally converge. Here is the part of this parable that should stay with you long after this video ends. The oil is not transferable. When the foolish virgins asked the wise to share, the wise said, "We cannot." That is not cruelty, that is physics. The kind of oil that fills a spiritual reservoir cannot be borrowed at midnight. It cannot be purchased from someone else's surplus. It cannot be downloaded. It cannot be transferred through content, through conferences, through prophetic updates, or through proximity to someone who has it. It is accumulated privately, quietly, in the dark hours that no one else witnesses. This is what Jesus called wisdom, not superior eschatological knowledge, not a better prophetic framework. Wisdom was simply this: they filled their flasks before the wait. They prepared a reserve before the midnight hour, and when the cry came, they were still burning. The door has not shut yet. If it had, you would not be watching this. The midnight cry has not come, which means the reservoir can still be filled. The private life with God, the one that has been quietly neglected while the external watching continued, is still accessible. The oil is still available. The flask is still open. The wise virgins were not perfect. They were prepared. They understood something the foolish virgins discovered too late, that watching for his coming and being ready for his coming are two entirely different things, and only one of them is built in the silence. The question that remains is the oldest one in this story. Not are you watching, you are watching. The question is the one that separated 5 from 5, not evil from righteous, not believer from unbeliever, but wise from foolish. When the cry comes at midnight, and it will come, what will be burning in the reservoir they cannot see? That answer is being written right now. In the hours no one watches, in the silence no one documents, in the private place where oil is either accumulated or not. The door is still open.